But thank you so much for you guys joining us this morning. Happy, is it Thursday? Is it Friday yet? That's how I'm feeling. I know you guys are feeling it like me. But thank you so much for joining us today. We have Miss Janika Barrage here with us from the Washington Center, and she is going to tell you some really, really good, helpful information in applying to the Washington Center, what it's about, why you want to join, what you get out of it. So just make sure that you're taking notes. Again, we have it recorded, but be able to ask your questions. If you come up with a question while she's speaking, please put it in the chat. We can always, I'm not sure if she's going to stop or we can get to it at the end, but just make sure that you are communicating and being interactive. It's a smaller group of us today, but you definitely want to make sure that you get your name out there and that you get all of your questions answered. I did not introduce myself. My name is, somebody's waving at my door, but I'm on the call with y'all. My name is Miss Danielle Craig, Assistant Director of Undergraduate Research, Experiential Learning, and Honors. So if you're an honors student, you know me by now. If you are not an honors student, I'm still all things exponential learning. So interested in mentorship, internships, fellowships, anything with a ship on it, come talk to me, all right? I'm here in the library, room 200, and I look forward to seeing you guys this semester. So without further ado, Ms. Janika, I'm going to hand the floor over to you. Thank you so much for joining us again today here at Delaware State University.
Thank you so much, Ms. Danielle. It's great to meet with your students once again. My name is Janika. I am one of the admissions counselors at the Washington Center, and I am your admissions counselor at the Washington Center. So I work with all students who are applying to the Washington Center from DSU. I help them throughout the application process, and I'm here as a resource. So today I'm here to share with you about our academic internship opportunity, which is a fantastic opportunity for students while you're in school so that you could get professional experience in your respective field. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and we will start the presentation. If you have any questions throughout this, go ahead and drop them in the chats, or you can ask at the end out loud, and I'll be happy to address those questions at that time. This is your opportunity to get those questions answered. Whatever you're curious about TWC, I'm here to help you with that. All right. Just give it a moment. I think we had someone new join. For anyone new who has joined, please let us know in the chat your major as well as your year at DSU. Okay, I hope everyone can see that screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so once again, thank you all very much for your attention. I am Janika, your admissions counselor at TWC. So for those of you who are not aware of the Washington Center, maybe this is the first time you've heard about the Washington Center. We are a nonprofit organization based in Washington, D.C., and we partner with Delaware State University so that students like you can intern, study, and live in DC in exchange for academic credit at your institution. Our whole goal is so that students gain the skills and the experiences that they need while you're in school so that once you graduate, you're able to launch your career or go on to that next step, if that is the professional field or if you're looking to go to graduate school or something else. So the academic internship program, which is the main program that I'm talking about today, has three main components: the internship, there's also career readiness programming, and finally, an academic course. And I think one of the most exciting parts is you are guaranteed housing in downtown Washington, D.C. in the residential and academic facility, or the RAF. This is TWC's own apartment building, and you share it with other TWC interns. So to get a little bit more in the details about what this program is, we'll start with the internship. TWC partners with hundreds of organizations in DC, and we work with you to find an internship that is right for you. We partner with government agencies, nonprofit organizations, advocacy groups, think tanks, the list, big companies, private companies, and so on and so forth. So for most majors, there are opportunities. I will say if you're a student that's looking for clinical experience, for instance, or you want to work in a hospital, or you're really looking for lab work, those opportunities we unfortunately don't have. But outside of that, there are so many different things that students can do. And we work with you so that you're finding an internship that is going to be right for you. And with that internship, we guarantee that you'll have a supervisor who cares about you, cares about your success, and is going to put you in a position that you are growing in that internship. You'll be able to work on projects that are meaningful. We don't want you to do an internship just to scan papers or to get coffee, for instance. We want you to actually work on meaningful work, and that you'll work on projects that you can own. You can say that I completed this, that here's a demonstration of my skills. This is something that I saw from start to finish. So this is what you're going to get out of your internship. In terms of how you get that internship, what that process is like, we have our internship placement process. This process starts after you have been accepted to the Washington Center. So you apply, you submit your application, we review your application. If you're accepted, 2 months before the start of the program, we'll go into the internship placement process, which will allow you the time to find those internships that are right for you and to interview for those different positions. So the internship placement process starts with a welcome email from your pre-arrival advisor, which is going to be the person that will help you throughout this internship placement process. You'll do a few pre-arrival activities just so you're prepared for meeting with your advisor, you're prepared for those next steps. After you've done those pre-arrival activities, you'll work with your pre-arrival advisor. What are your interests? What are your goals? What are you hoping to get out of that internship? And you'll discuss, what kind of organizational types, what kind of internships you should be looking at that will be a good fit for you. During those sessions, your pre-arrival advisor will also help you with your application materials. You've submitted those application materials when you apply to TWC, but we're going to make sure that your resume is top-notch, that your statement of professional interest is as direct and as clear as it can be, so that you're ready to send those to internship sites. Once your pre-arrival advisor has helped you with those materials, thinks your application is strong enough to send out, that's where the fun part begins. We utilize a system by which our partners, our hundreds of partners, they'll post their available internships in that system. And you, as the student, you get to choose which internships you want to apply to. You will select, I want to apply for internships A, B, and C, and you'll click a button and send your application materials to those internship sites. Now, you're not completing a whole new application. Those application materials that you submitted and you worked on with your pre-arrival advisor, those are the application materials that are going to be sent to those internship sites. After you send your applications out to a max amount of internship sites, we wait, we see what happens. So those internship sites take a look at your application materials and they decide whether or not they want to invite you for an interview. If you get a few interviews, your pre-arrival advisor is there to do a mock interview with you so we can make sure that you are ready for that interview, that your interviewing skills are strong. And, if you do well in your interview, perhaps you'll have a few internship offers. If it turns out that in the first round, you're not getting those internship offers, then your pre-arrival advisor is there to step in. We'll go back to the drawing board, send out your application to a few more internship sites until at the end of this process, you are accepting an internship that you are happy about. So it starts with a welcome email and it ends with you accepting an internship. All right. So while that internship is the main part of the academic internship program, this is the part that students are very excited about, there are other components as well because this is a holistic program. So in addition to your internship, you'll be attending or participating in career readiness programming throughout the week. This career readiness programming is really what sets TWC apart. I think the holistic program sets it apart, but the career readiness programming is one of the parts of it that really stands out. So it's a mix of professional development workshops, like how to write a federal resume, which is different from a regular resume. How do I negotiate my salary? What about my personal brand? How do I properly brand myself for different organizations? It also includes one-to-one career advising. You're working with a career advisor, someone to discuss your goals with, someone to help you plan for the future. You're also going to engage in networking events. You probably heard already, it's not always just what you know, but also who you know. And I can tell you that this holds true. So we want you to start building your professional network, connecting with our alumni. TWC has 60,000 alumni, some of whom come from DSU. And we want you to start making those connections with our alumni and also industry professionals. All of this is part of the career readiness programming. You will select which events you want to attend throughout the week. We also have some series as part of this career readiness programming if students wanted to dive deeper in certain topics like diversity, equity, inclusion. There is a multiple part series. There's a wellness series and also a strengths series, which is discovering your respective strengths and how to apply them. So this is the career readiness program that you will be a part of. And at the end of this, all your experiences are culminating in a digital portfolio that you can show to future employers to demonstrate the skills and what you have worked on during your time with TWC. Finally, but certainly not least, you also participate in an academic course once a week, one night a week. These courses, they are general courses. We have topics in business, communications, international relations, psychology. We'll always offer a writing and research course for those students who would like to improve those skills. And so once a week, you'll take this course. And one of the fun parts about these courses is that they're taught by faculty members who are often industry professionals. So these are individuals who are working in their fields. For instance, one of our courses, a U.S. foreign policy course, is taught by a faculty member who was a senior intelligence officer. We've had somebody teach a class who worked for the Associated Press, and someone else who worked for, a very, very important government office. And the list goes on. So in these classes, you have this insight from this industry professional, and it also keeps you academically engaged. Here's an example of some of the courses that you might run into. One of my favorite courses, which is not on this list, is called Scandalous Washington. It really talks about all the scandals and all the crazy things that have gone down in Washington, D.C. And finally, all of this you can do in DC. So students absolutely love the fact that they get to live in DC for a semester or a summer. Most students from DSU are participating in the summer program. You are guaranteed housing in DC if you choose to live with us in DC. The benefits of the TWC housing include a community of other students who are doing these internships as well. We have students from all around the country and also students from around the world. You have 24-hour front desk service in the TWC facility, so you can feel secure. The apartments themselves are really nice. I have been there myself. I have toured the apartment buildings. They are beautiful two-bedroom apartments, fully furnished, fully equipped. We're talking, nice kitchen appliances, your pots, your pans, your utensils. You have a dishwasher in the facilities, a washer and dryer in the apartment unit itself. There's a gym, a computer room, and some working spaces in the basement. So really great facilities. And in terms of the neighborhood itself, you're in a lively neighborhood. There are a lot of restaurants and shops nearby. You're very close to the DC Metro. You're walking distance from Capitol Hill and from Union Market. So very accessible area that is living in TWC's housing. So in terms of how TWC works for you all as DSU students, you must receive credit to participate in this program. At a minimum, 1 credit. A maximum, that is going to depend on your academic department. So this is where you would need to talk to your academic department about how this program could work specifically for your major. If you are an in-state student, I apologize, some of my slide was cut off. If you are an in-state Delaware student, this program is fully funded for you. Your DSU tuition is waived, your TWC program fee, and your housing fees are fully funded. Again, it's fully funded. What you would be responsible for are your personal costs if you decide to come and live in DC. If you are not a Delaware resident, then you would be responsible for however amount of credits you're receiving from DSU, again, a minimum of 1, in addition to the TWC program fee and housing fee. However, there is a scholarship for students who are not from Delaware and participating in TWC. It's a $3,000 scholarship, 1,000 of which is dependent on your use of TWC housing. So $2,000 if you're not using TWC housing, $3,000 if you are using TWC housing, and 1,000 of that scholarship goes toward your housing costs. So this is how the program works for you. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you may have about this. And the last thing that I wanted to share is our important dates. So I know some of you here are currently applying to the program. Our 2022 applications are opened. Spring, fall, summer. Again, most students are participating in the summer program. And so if you were looking toward summer 2022, for instance, that application deadline is not until next year. So there's still some time. If students wanted to make the semester program work, again, you can see the deadlines here. The internship period pretty much matches your semester. So if you were looking to do the summer program, the summer starts at the beginning of June and it goes until the beginning of August. All right. So I threw a lot of information at you, but I would love to hear from you all. And the last thing is that I want you all to stay connected. If you're looking at this on your computer, for instance, please take out your phone at this time, and I want you to scan this QR code. It will ask you to fill out some information. Fill that information out. This allows us to send you important updates. We have virtual events coming up that we want you to be a part of. We have alumni coming and speaking at these events. Great perspective there. It allows us to stay connected with you, me connected with you as your admissions counselor. So I do encourage you to fill that out. And at this point, I know we have a few questions, so I'm happy to take that. And I think we could go ahead and start with Janae. Yes, Janae, thank you for raising your hand.
So if we're interested in this, who is the first person that we would go to get this entire process started?
That's a fantastic question. The question is, if you are interested in this, who is the first person you go to get this process started? So you can start with me and Miss Danielle Craig. The both of us together. So me on the TWC side in terms of what are the application components, how do you apply, how do you construct your materials, and I will allow Ms. Craig to speak about what will be needed of you from the DSU side of things.
Yeah, so then with DSU, you want to make sure that you're talking to your academic counselor, as Janika told us earlier. You want to make that appointment with them. You want to let them know that you're planning on applying to the Washington Center. And if you get accepted, which we know that you guys will, then you got to find out like what you can do. Can you take an elective? Do you have an an internship course that you can align this with? You just need to have that conversation with them. Lastly, you want to talk to financial aid and make sure that you have everything financial aid in order. If you're a Delaware resident, you really don't have anything to worry about. If you are out of state resident, then you want to go and ask the questions. For those who are out of state, I don't want the fact that you have to pay something to scare you away. You know that you have scholarships that come through DSU, and right now they're always announcing scholarships for tuitions. Ask those questions in regards to financial aid as if that would cover this program for you in the summertime. So that's the order. You want to start with your academic counselor, and then you want to go to financial aid, but you also want to work in tandem with Janika, who will help you get get through this process. And of course, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me directly. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Ms. Danielle, for adding that. We have a question from Asia.
Hello, Janika. How are you? Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Sorry, my connection is a little off. So I had a question regarding COVID-19 and the vaccinations. I know that I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'll just speak for myself. I'm looking or seeking an exemption, religious exemption. I'm not sure if that's an option. And I'm a previous applicant. Prior to COVID, I was accepted to TWC and I was ecstatic for the opportunity to begin, but then COVID had really interrupted everything. So I don't want the vaccination to be a hindrance to me, participating this time around.
Yes, yes. We're happy that you're able to participate this time around, and it is unfortunate that so many students' plans to participate pre-COVID were interrupted because of COVID. Regarding vaccinations, at this time, vaccinations are required for students who are living with us in TWC facilities. The only exemption we are accepting at this time is a medical exemption. So students would have to provide documentation from their respective physician or whomever in order to get that exemption. Any other exemptions we are not accepting. Students who are unable to get the vaccination or are requesting not to get the vaccination, they're able to arrange their own housing in DC if they wanted to stay in DC, or there's still the option to participate virtually. We've been doing the virtual program since summer of 2020, and it has been successful. So that is still an option for students as well.
Okay, last question in relation to that. You said medical exemptions. So for a person who hasn't had any history or medical history of any vaccinations, would that be considered like an exemption?
That would not.
With documentation?
It would need to be a documented reason as to why the vaccination is not possible for you. And any more specific questions, I'm happy to connect you with our community life so that they could explain a little bit further. But yes, I do not think that would qualify as a medical exemption.
Okay, thank you.
Great question so far. Any other questions? Love to hear from you all.
Janae, did you already ask your question?
Yeah, I had another question. So, Janika, if I wanted to get in touch with you, do you have an email? Could you leave your email in the chat?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat right now. And I know we have a question from Griselda.
That was going to be my question. I was going to ask if we ever wanted to talk or ask you a question personally, where would we contact you?
Great. I've gone ahead and put that in the chat. It's janika.ferridge@twc.edu.
All right, any other questions? This is your time. Janae, I think you have another one. Go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, that was an accident.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Griselda, do you still have another question?
Yes, I do. So I live in South Carolina and I go to DSU under a scholarship, a full ride. So I would have to pay out of pocket, right? Like that wouldn't count as a resident in DSU.
Right, that is correct. So your tuition, your DSU tuition side would still be covered by your scholarship, but you would have to pay the program and housing fees if you're staying in housing directly to TWC.
Oh,
You
okay.
would get that
Thank you.
scholarship though, that
The
$2,000
scholarship.
scholarship, 3 if you're staying in housing.
Okay. Do you know if that fully covers housing, or do you know like the approximate amount that like I would pay out of pocket even with the scholarship?
I can send you the link to our costs. So give me a moment and I'll send you that. That way you could do the calculations.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I want to piggyback off of that, Griselda. So just make sure that when you're looking at their cost, you still have that conversation with financial aid, okay? And see if there's any type of scholarships or anything that can support you taking or enrolling into this program, whether it's through the semester or summertime.
Okay, thank you. I sure will.
Okay, you're welcome.
I have a quick question. So
Sure.
if I attend Delaware State, but I'm an out of state student, what are ways that I could, like, should I be here for a year and then it counts for the full tuition, or does it not count regardless of how long I'm here?
You would have to be a resident of Delaware for it to count.
Okay,
So-
thank
Okay, I'm sorry, Camille. I just wanted to share that. So for those of you who may be juniors, seniors, even sophomores who are living off of campus and you have your apartments and you have a Delaware license and things like that, that would consider you a resident. But anything outside, if you're here on campus, but you're still South Carolina, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, ID holder, you know what I mean, resident of those states, then it's not going to count for you guys.
Just to get an idea, can everyone who is a Delaware resident go ahead and raise your hand so I can see how many of us are Delaware residents and how many are not? Okay. So 2 of us are Delaware residents and the rest of us are out of state. All right. Thank you for that.
Okay, any other questions? Last call. We'll be able to give you some of your time back today. All right, it looks like we're all good. Please make sure that you scan the QR code, you get connected. You never know what's going to come around the corner for what could be possible in regards to programming, in regards to scholarships, in regards to just new programming. So stay connected. If you were on this call, make sure you stay connected with the Washington Center and with Janika, and just, keep your eyes and ears open. I look forward to seeing you guys. I see your applications when they come through. I think the early application for summer was February, but don't wait until February. Work on it now. Go to the website, see what is required of you. There are some recommendations that you have to get written, your transcripts, an essay, things like that. I look forward. I love the essays that are submitted. I read all of them. And so, I look forward to seeing your applications. If you have any questions, you do have Janika's email. I'm going to put my email in the chat as well, but you should probably have mine. I spam you all the time. And I'm here on campus if you need anything in the library, room 200. Come ask questions or email me. And I look forward to seeing your applications for the Washington Center. Janika, I'll let you have the final words.
Yes, thank you everyone for attending, for listening, for asking your questions. As Ms. Craig mentioned, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. I'm very happy to help, and I hope to hear from you all soon.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you as well.
Thank you.
Bye guys. Stay dry. It's raining. Mrs. Poe, it's over. Hold on one second. Let me stop.